Okay, you guys, I'm back on here. I'm not going to be on here long, maybe 30 minutes or so. This is my rest weekend. I had a really long, hectic, crazy week just dealing with all of the legal stuff with my ex husband. And, the more that I sit here and I reflect on that situation, the more that I realize that a lot of these men, they operate in chaos because that's all that they know. They don't know how to be um what's the word I'm looking for? They don't know how to be normal. They don't know how to bring peace because their energy is so, men. Look. I can only deal with 2 men a day. That's it. 2 men a day. That's it. Snookskin down. That's all I can deal with. You men are so problematic. You're your own worst enemy to yourself, and I can tell when you as a man don't do the work. You don't do the inner work and inner healing. Like you don't go within to kind of work on yourself. An example would be, you got out of a really, really bad relationship with a woman and now you have trust issues. So instead of you working on those trust issues and doing that inner work, meditation is the best form of medication you can ever give to yourself. You just jump off into another relationship with another woman, and you're bringing this baggage into the new relationship. You're bringing insecurities into the new relationship. Do I think that you men deserve love and access to women? Yeah, but it's only if you're willing to do the work. You have to put in the work to become a better human being in order to get access to the women that you want. It's not that hard. I have told the ladies here who started out on their divestment journey, take 1 to 2 years out for yourself to just work on yourself. Go to therapy, start eating right, work on your thought process, just unpack whatever issues that you have going on. Even if it means you have to journal, you have to go do something to kind of release stress and tension, you have to work with a therapist, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You have to work on yourself. The problem is, men, the women who are single and they're focused on themselves, they have done the work on themselves. You guys are not doing the work on yourselves. You're not doing the work on yourselves because you want women. You want women to do all of the work for you. And women are not going to do the work for you. Women are not going to do the work for you, men. You have to do the work. You have to do the inner work and the inner healing. And if you don't do that, well, then you don't get access to the woman that you want, because we're no longer caring about how big you are in bed. We're no longer caring about how much money you have in your wallet. We no longer care how tall you are. Even though most of us have a preference when it comes to finances with a man, height with a man, etc. We're now looking at you men's characters and personality, and you're not doing so great. In other words, there's too many character flaws going on with you men. Your intentions are very, very atrocious. Your intentions are not clear. The lack of respect for women, the lack of boundaries for women is why women are just glossing over the top of you men. I know fat men, I know ugly men, I know broke men still out here getting laid. Still out here getting laid. Still can get access to a woman, but you can't get access to a woman. It is because of the energy that you're coming with. And I'm so on point when a man approaches me in his energy. I already know what you men are looking for because you're coming with deception. You're coming with manipulation. Why is it so hard for you men to just be yourselves? Why is it so hard for you to just express vulnerability in a healthy way? Why is it so hard for you to express your feelings in a healthy way? Why does it always have to lead to you doing the opposite of that? Being dominating, being humbling, being disrespectful, being aggressive. coming off very manipulative. Why does it always have to be this way with you men? Why can't you just simply be yourself and show your best presentation to a woman? Why is it so hard for you men to do that? It is because you can't handle rejection. That's what this is about. You can't handle rejection and women can. You can't handle the level of heartbreak that you give women, but you have no problem giving women heartbreaks and disappointments. I can see straight through you, men. Straight through you. All of that gaslighting, manipulation, love bombing. Look, that shit doesn't work with me. It does not. I can see straight through you. I can see straight through the deception. Straight through it. So when you're coming towards certain types of women out here like myself, you better come right or don't come at all. You better have your shit together. Because the minute I see any kind of red flag with you, I'm out. I'm gone. I'm cutting you off. All of this dismissive behavior and red pill approach, that's another thing that's messing you men up. You guys have been sitting down, listening to Manosphere, listening to Red Pill, listening to MGTOW content, and you're thinking that that way how to approach women is going to get you a woman. It's not. It's you want to know what it's making you men look like? It's making you look like assholes and jerks. And women are just glossing over you because we see these, we recognize we recognize the patterns with most of you. We recognize the red flags that you're coming with, and we can see it a mile away, and we can see that you're going to pose as a threat to us. And when I say a threat to us, a threat to our peace, a threat to our livelihoods, and we exempt ourselves away from you so that you don't get to have access, and you're not going to have access to women. You're not. There's a lot going on with you men in a metaphysical sense I can't really get off into. But I've talked about how I've met men who have shapeshifted into different things. See, the ladies are not ready for those types of conversations. See, ladies, y'all better be careful getting out here dealing with some of these men because some of these men are not who you think they are. Some of these men are wizards and warlocks, and they're little shape shifting creatures. And I have told y'all that once I understand the nature of men entirely here and their origin, I understand. But for right now, we're just at the baseline here because a lot of y'all are not ready for these in-depth conversations about men. Honey, I have seen so much stuff with these men. I can write a book. Nothing that men do at this point terrifies me. But what terrifies me is you guys getting in cars with them, going to their homes, and letting your guards down to men. You guys scare me. You guys really, really scare me. It's not the men that I'm terrified of. It's you women who I'm scared of because y'all are so easily open to men. You're so open to men so easily and ready. And it is so scary. And I have seen so much with men. Nothing that you men say and do at this point scares me. Nothing at this point. And I mean absolutely nothing that you men do at this point scares me. Nothing. I have seen so much with you men, so I can write a book about the shit that I have experienced with you men. hmm I've escaped some pretty terrifying stories, you guys, with men. I have been in life and death situations with men. Yeah. Nothing that you men do scares me. And that's why I can get on here as neutral as I am and speak the way that I do without any kind of emotions attached, because I have survived what most women will not ever survive. I've seen enough with you men. I've seen way too much with you guys. Way too much. Way too much. And you men come off as these little imposters. You come off as these great little manipulators and liars and deceivers that you are. And you put on your best presentation when you're talking and meeting a woman, until it's time for the little mask to come off. And I get to see your little sociopathic tendencies, your little narcissistic tendencies. Oh, yeah, I could see you men's little devil's horns when I'm talking to you. You don't think I can't see that? And then some of y'all come over here and y'all play these little Hottie and Jekyll games. You're not going to play those games with me. You're not going to play those games with me. I think the only thing that's keeping you men kind of like above water right now in society is the fact that we have laws. And see, without those laws in place, which are no high laws, you men would be out here just acting barbaric. You would be out here acting barbaric. Ladies, these men, they have it in them to be good. And see, that's just what the Bible is for. It is to literally train men how to be godly. That's what the Bible is there for. They created the Bible. They created the Bible, and the Bible is literally there to train them how to be godly men. But see, in order for them to be these godly men, they have to surrender to God. They have to surrender to themselves. They have to just come to the Most High like they are, hands stretched out, and says, God, just use me however you want to use me. The thing is, these men are operating in demon time. They're operating in their lower frequency. They're low. Anytime a man just lusts after you and wants to have fun time with you, that man is operating in his lowest vibration he'll ever be in. Yep. High vibrational men don't operate the way how most of these men operate on these apps and on social media. All of this devious stuff that you men do. Mm-mm. That's not how godly men operate in high vibration. Mm-mm. And when you men can't get what you want, you know how to be mean and you know how to be calculated. And like I said, these little games don't work with women like me. You men have to come up with something new with the Kina, please, because I love a good challenge. And see, we could play this game all day and all night. I have nothing but time, man. I have nothing but time. See, I'm the type of woman, I sit back and I study what you men do and say. And I analyze everything that you men do and how you move. And then you try to come back and play these little games against women like me until the games are turned on you, until I'm playing the game with you. And see, while you're out here playing checkers, I'm out here playing chess. So we can play this game all day, men. All day, every day. I have nothing but time. You ladies don't really understand men, but one of these days you will understand men. Do you know that there are men who literally sit in the front of your home when you're sleeping, ladies? And they watch your house. Some of these men just purposely follow you around in town and in your city just to see what you're doing and how you're moving so that they can study you. You guys think you're not being watched by men. Yes, you are. You're being watched by men because that's what predators do when they're watching their prey. They have to study their prey so that they can catch you in your most vulnerable time. Hmm. But yet, you guys think you know all men. You think you know all men. You think you understand men. Even I don't understand men completely, but I understand them enough to know how far to go with them and how dangerous they can become when they are provoked or they feel threatened. And a lot of men are threatened by, women who are confident and strong and educated and intelligent because uh it undermines their ability to control you. Hmm. Men know how powerful certain types of women are, so they have to break the strongest ones in order to control the whole entire herd, because that's how men perceive women. They see women as nothing more but objects that they can control. And when you don't kowtow and you don't bow into them, into the system, well, they can't break you, they can't bend you. You want to know what I do with weak, fragile men? I just walk all over the top of them. I don't even see them. I don't even see their existence. I see their ego, and their egos are not that big. It's just their pride getting in the way of them in fear. So I just walk over these types of men and I put these men back into their place. So that's what I do. When men think that they're going to come and disrespect me or overstep my boundaries, well, there's a place for you to be, and it's behind that door. And normally I just whiplash these men right back into the position that they're supposed to be in. You can go play these games with other women. You're not going to play these games with me. That's what you're not going to do. And instead of you men actually sitting down, listening to women and understanding women on an in-depth level, you will continue to try to challenge, dominate, humble, or even control women that you no longer can have access to. Because this is what this is about. This is not about women wanting to be entitled over you men. This is about finding balance. And in order for you men to find balance with women, you have to connect with your feminine side to be able to understand women. And there are only two sets of men that I know who are capable of doing that. That would be gay men and down low men. That's it. And bisexual men. That's it. You cis straight men, you have a lot of work to do, honey. You had a lot of work to do. As long as you guys are feeding men's egos and stroking their cock and tickling their nutsacks, they feel great. They feel great. But the minute you modeling and nurturing and babyfying men, you'll see how much of a bitch they can be. You'll see exactly how mean and calculated and evil they can be. Hmm. See, my ex, he just wants to keep playing these back and forth games with me. Mm, yeah. He just wants to keep playing these back and forth games with me. And see, one thing about me, I never let my left hand know what my right hand is doing. So while he's making moves, as he think he's making moves, I've already made two and three moves on the chessboard. And eventually somebody's gonna fall off. Eventually something's gonna backfire. That's called karma, men. You can't just keep getting out here doing women any kind of way and then thinking you're going to have an abundant, positive prosperity life in the future. You can't do that. You can't get out here and mistreat women and think you're going to have a blessed life in the future. Or you can't get out here and think you're going to find a good woman after you fumbled one good woman. You want to know what happens to men like you, men? You end up in nursing homes with no one there to sit by you in your dying age. You end up going bald because that's your karma. You end up with all kind of heart conditions and all kind of issues internally because of how you've been treating women, and all of that stress that eventually comes back and it deteriorates your health. Yeah, you men better be careful how you treat women, because if God blesses you with a woman and you end up with daughters, your daughters are going to be mistreated by men that they get with. I've heard these stories so many times. The amount of men who mistreated women and then they end up with a woman and they have daughters, and their daughters go through hell with the men that they end up with. That's what happens to your bloodlines men. Anyways, I just don't see I just don't see these men changing. I just don't see it. Because a lot of them are just not going to, like I keep telling you guys, they're not going to put in the necessary work to become better men, to evolve into the men that they need to be in order to be with women. And unfortunately, until until you men change your behavior, you change how you deal with women out here, it's this is going to be the end goal each and every time. This is going to be the end goal. Every woman that you meet, you're just going to keep having problems. You're just going to keep having problems every time you meet a woman. You're just going to keep, and every time a woman cries, God counts those tears and how you mistreated that woman. And for every tear that that woman sheds as a result of you, any pain that you cause, any misery that you cause, your life is going to be a living hell, because God's going to count every last tear, and you're going to pay for that. You're going to pay for how you treated that woman. That's why I tell men, if you know you can't treat women right and you don't love these women and you know you can't give them what they need, leave these women alone. Don't waste these women's time and don't disrupt their peace. Because the minute you do that to that woman, she's going to hate you for the rest of your life. She's going to resent you and she's going to feel betrayed by you and unappreciated. And I promise you, you're never going to get access to that woman again. And God's never going to bless you with that type of woman again in your life. I've seen it happen so many times. Men fumbling good women, and then they think that they're going to find the same type of woman and other women in the future. They never ever find that woman again. They never ever. And see, some women, we leave a mark. We leave a mark on you men. And that mark is going to be a reminder, because guess what? We're going to haunt you for the rest of your life. and you're never, ever, ever going to forget us, and you're never, ever going to be able to forgive yourself. And each time you look at another woman, you're going to constantly see that woman in your mind. Even when you go to sleep, you're going to see that woman's face in your mind. I tell men, be careful how you treat women. Be careful how you treat women, because you don't know how God's going to bless you when you do get blessed with a certain type of woman. Because there are women out here who God purposely give you to make your life better. And if you fuck it up, that's your ass. You'll never ever get that opportunity again. You honestly think God is going to give you the opportunity of having another good woman after you ruined the relationship with the good woman the first time? And see, this is why a lot of you men, when you get in your 40s and 50s and 60s, you're still stuck without a wife, because you've been dealing with karma and how you've been treating the women God has been blessing you. And see, when you get in your old stricken age, you don't have nobody to tend to you, because look at how you messed up all of the women you dated in your younger youth years. And by the time you do find a good woman, you're on your deathbed again. You're literally 1 foot on a banana peel, 1 foot in the grave, because you have cursed your whole entire life. See, that's what happens to you men when you fumble good women. You end up cursing your life. You end up cursing your life. And once your life is cursed, you will never ever be able to have that opportunity again with a good woman. If you know you can't handle a good woman and you can't take care of her and meet her needs and stuff, leave that woman alone and remove yourself out of that situation before it backfires. And this is why y'all are seeing all of these old bitter dudes sitting up online right now, because they have been fumbling good women all of their life. God has been giving them good women, and they have been messing over those good women. And what has happened, see, then when they do get ready to settle down, they go and pursue younger women, because they know they done fucked up their whole entire life. They done messed up their whole entire life, and now they think they're gonna get out here and they're gonna get a good woman when they're old and full of health conditions and broke and all kind of baggage. So it doesn't work like that, man. You will never ever be able to find a replacement woman that you fumbled. But there are women out here who leave marks on you men. We leave marks on you so that you will know what kind of woman you had, who you crossed paths with, and what you will never ever find again. And what happens is these types of men end up settling with certain types of women because they know that they will never, ever, ever be able to find that type of woman again in their lifetime. They know this. So what happens is they end up just settling. They end up just settling with some kind of woman just to say that they have somebody, to fill a void that really they have to fill themselves. And I don't want anybody to just settle for me just to say that you got me, just to say that you have somebody. Because if you don't see me as a whole completed person with you, or you can't see me beyond the superficialness, then you don't deserve me. Okay. But I just wanted to get on here and share this because I think what we're starting to see is the karma that's coming back for a lot of you men who have messed over good women in your life. And now you're getting an age where you don't really have nobody. And how many men have I known who have messed over good women? Countless. And they're not happy in their lives. So if you men don't change your behaviors and actually treat women better, you're going to be an old, angry, bitter man, even in death. That is the future of you men if you don't change your ways and work on yourself. You're going to end up like a lot of these men on here who died alone, miserable, angry, and bitter without love. That's what's going to happen to you men. And what are women going to do? We're going to have our communities. We're going to have other women we can connect with. We're going to have friends and family. And you men are just going to be miserable all to yourself. So please be mindful of how you treat women, because you are messing with the divine feminine and creator who brought your ass here. Because some woman had to bring you here. Some woman brought you here. And you better appreciate the fact that you were existed through a woman. You were created through a woman. But I'm going to get off of here, you guys. And some of these older generations of women, they didn't teach their sons anything. And they're angry and bitter with younger women like myself who won't give their sons a chance. Ma'am, you messed up your son. You coddled your son. And nobody is entitled to date your son. Now you're stuck with your creation that you ruined. And no woman is going to deal with that. So, unfortunately, you're going to end up dealing with your son. And that's why we're seeing all of these angry older women upset with younger women, because we won't date their sons. Well, you didn't teach us, you didn't send your son off when he was supposed to be sent off to become a man. You messed up that for him, just like his father did. And now you want women to take on the load that you have created. We're not doing that. So you guys are going to start seeing and hearing a lot of marticide cases where these sons are going to start taking out their mothers, because these men know that they are useless and they're messed up, and they know that their youth and their livelihoods have been taken through their mothers, and they're still harboring on that. And they want women to pay for the actions of their mothers. I'm not paying for shit. I'm not paying for anything. You ladies just better be careful out here, especially with these boy moms and these sons of these boy moms, because those are the ones who have a lot of vitriol. And a lot of these mamas are out here having incestual relationships with their sons. They're having incestual relationships with their sons. But y'all not ready for those conversations. Y'all have a good night.